Today's episode of Real Talk Christian Podcast is sponsored by the Christian Standard Bible. The goal of the CSB is to be faithful to the original languages without sacrificing clarity, all while maintaining both accuracy and readability. With the beautiful designs and multiple study Bible options, everyone from adults to teens and even children can find a CSB Bible that they enjoy. Learn more at csbible.com. Again, that's csbible.com.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Real Talk Christian Podcast, where we drink coffee and have real conversations about faith, culture, and society. I'm your host, Chris Fuller.
And this is Mark Hyde.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about Christianity behind the screen. What does it mean to be a Christian in today's social media society? Mark, you ready to go?
Not really, because I love social media, but I guess we got to do it, huh?
Well, let's go.
Let's go. We're back digital, my friend.
We are digital. We're
Dude,
going to talk about digital.
I look up and your face is like whoosh, to the camera, and it threw me off. I'm like, why are you so close?
Well, I know our listeners are probably going to be all thrown off because I was trying to do like a whole Mr. Rogers intro. So I got real close and I wanted to be like, hi, friends. Welcome to my neighborhood.
Okay, so I think you know this. We have a nanny for the kids now, so I can work in the morning while Beth's at the school. It's Gab, good old Gab.
Right.
And she just learned about Daniel Tiger this morning.
She never knew about Daniel Tiger?
I don't think so. She's like,
When you feel so mad that you want to roar, take a deep breath.
And
count to four.
Yeah. What's the other one that I would do with Elliot? It's time to sleep. The day is done.
Right.
Let's count down to that's it, man.
Daniel Tiger, man. When you have kids, that's what you watch and listen to.
See, I feel like though, if the world would just watch Daniel Tiger, the world would be a better place. Like adults need to watch Daniel Tiger to learn how to interact with each other, specifically on social media.
So I think
which is a great segue.
All kids should grow up watching Daniel Tiger.
Yep, I agree.
And then once you hit teenage years and adulthood, you should watch nothing but Mr. Rogers. And this world would be a better place.
To be honest with you, though, I was not actually a big Mr. Rogers fan growing up. Like, wow, that was a crazy sound. Like, my grandma would put it on. Like, and we didn't really do Sesame Street either. I did 1993, the year in sports, over and over and over.
What is wrong with you?
We did a lot of Barney. I'll ask my mom about the other shows we watched because I only remember Barney and like watching
No wonder
sports
why
with my
Gen
dad.
Z has warped your mind so much.
Well, my brother, when Steve came out with that 25th anniversary of Blue's Clues, his little like, I never forgot you. I was like,
he's like, look at you. Look at all you've accomplished. I've seen so many memes. It's like people with like peanut butter all over the face. I'm like, that's me.
That's Carl. That's Carl. Or like my favorite one was like this dude who's like covered in pizza sauce and he's eating his pizza. He's like, me?
Somebody put that up with a picture of Steve saying that and then a picture of Fat Thor. And I was like,
no.
That's awesome.
Were you a Blue's Clues kid though growing up? Like were you one of those?
So I'm trying to remember when. So it came out in. When did it come out? It wasn't 2000.
Well,
it was
25 years ago. So 97. So I was like 6. I was like I was like 5 or 6.
I was like, yeah, I think. I mean, I remember watching it, but I thought my little brother, is 4 years younger than me, was more into it than I was.
Yep, my brothers were too.
But it's funny now because now my son is all about Josh and Blue's Clues and Magenta, and that's his birthday theme basically.
Wait, is it really?
Blues this year. Yeah, he loves Blue's Clues. So it's kind of cool to see that all these years later. I grew up with Blue's Clues, and now he's watching Blue's Clues with Josh. I never liked Joe. Is that bad to say? I like Steve.
Steve's Josh, the OG, but that's the difference between like Steve's the OG and then the replacement. Like the new guy's 2 steps removed, so he's not trying to replace Steve. But this new guy, he's energetic as crap.
I love Josh. He's fantastic. But Steve is still my favorite.
My goodness, dude.
It touched me in the feels, man, when he came on. He's like, I'm sorry I left for college so abruptly.
Abruptly.
it kept me moving forward and doing the things that I needed to do. And guess what? Everything I learned from my time with you helped me and has continued to help me today. And look at you and all of you have accomplished. And I'm like, dang, dude.
Did you just quote that? Did you just quote his speech?
I paraphrased it, but yeah, basically. I mean, it was good. It was a good speech. I was like, dang, I wish RTC would have thought of that speech.
That's pretty sweet. I mean, it was pretty dope. Now, okay, I tried to watch Blue's Clues with the kids, and I tried watching Go Diego Go and Dora the Explorer, and there's just something about the low quality, square 4x3 like resolution rather than like, the 1920 by 1080 that I'm like, I can't handle this, guys. Like, this was great TV back in the day, but I mean, your boy's gonna watch Zaboomafoo. My kids know who Zaboomafoo is. Like,
you gotta watch it.
Like we go to the zoo and it's not. Oh, there's the lemur. Oh, look, there's King Julian. No, it's hey, look, Dad, I see Zaboomafoo. Like that.
Oh, it's King Julian.
Like that. That's where it's at. I'm King Julian. Now I will say I like to move it dance that is really hot right now on TikTok. Like I'm here for it, man. I am here for it. Well, dude, we are back remote again.
We are.
Let me ask, because I was thinking about this when I was going down and getting more water between recordings. Was the last time we were remote? Was that when we interviewed Joe?
The last time you and I were remote was Joe and Beth, your wife.
Well, now wife. Back then it was just Beth Schneider.
I think that she was our last one.
No, Joe was after. Joe was after, wasn't she?
No, I think Joe was before. I think it went Joe and then Beth.
I don't know. We'll have to ask. I'm sure Joe knows. I'm sure Joe and Kimberly remember.
But regardless, that was the last time we were. So I was in COVID, like lockdown in my room.
Yeah, that was a year ago.
So I was sick, and now we're remote again because I'm sick. So,
stop getting sick, bro. I need my coffee buddy.
I know.
Which, speaking of, did you get more coffee between episodes? I
did not.
I did not. I got water. I'm drinking water.
So when I took my blood pressure again, and it was 150/93. I was like, oh, that's
and that was just you sitting, bro.
That's just me sitting right now. And so for our listeners, okay, yes, I'm a big guy. Okay, I'm a little chunky. All right.
Always with the fat kid jokes.
But typically, I'm right around that normal 120/80 mark. Okay, that's my normal. So for my blood pressure to be this high, it's a lot.
It's a lot. So are you just drinking water or are you drinking bubbly?
I'm drinking AHA, and right now I'm finishing off my strawberry cucumber and going to be jumping into the lime watermelon.
Lime watermelon, that's a new flavor.
No, that's the one I've been drinking all the time.
Oh, that one. Okay, yeah, I've seen that one.
The strawberry cucumber is the new one to the podcast.
Oh, I forgot to grab it, dude. I bought us something.
Uh-oh.
And I am terrified to try it.
Oh, you know what? Dadgummit. I should have had Janelle bring up our sign, the RTC sign.
Oh, the new LED sign?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be dope. We could have previewed it. Next time, we'll preview it. But so I bought, well, actually, I mean, Beth asked, so Beth technically bought it. They have LaCroix Cola Coffee now.
Ugh.
It's called something weird, but it's like cola and coffee and LaCroix, and they all had a baby. And
you know how I felt about the Coke.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm like, and Beth was like, don't you want to drink one of these tonight? I'm like, no, if I'm going to drink grossness, Fuller's drinking it with me.
Well, you finished off both cans last time.
Well, because I needed to drink something. I forgot my water, so I had something.
I went to the water.
I do want to show you this, though. I know if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. So I drink out, this is my office coffee mug, right? My South Bend cup, because I'm a South Bend guy. This cup right here, I know you can't really see it, but you see all those etches in the glass?
Yeah, that's the map of South Bend.
That's the city of South Bend, yeah.
Nice.
That was my Father's Day present from Beth. I got that, and I got a vintage, like probably in the 80s or 90s, like thick glass frosted mug Notre Dame.
Nice.
So I got that in the freezer.
I've got a few of those too, like the big 32-ounce beer mug. Like
I wish it was that big. This is only like maybe 12.
Yeah, so 16. I'll have to break them out for you. They're the big boys, but they're nice to drink out of because they hold ice and keep it cold long. So that's
now, what I drink. Is that your root beer float cup?
That is I don't care what's in it. It's usually what I drink when I watch Notre Dame, except for right now it's in storage. So. It
You have
is
to get
what
your
it
new
is.
cup before Saturday. Well, I guess tomorrow's Saturday. You gotta get your new cup before tomorrow.
I am sporting my Notre Dame shorts on right now, though.
Hey.
My Notre Dame basketball shorts.
I'm not. I'm wearing a shirt. I'm just wearing a shirt.
Just a shirt, no pants.
I am wearing pants. And a belt. I am wearing pants. I am wearing actual clothes. Oh,
Wow.
Actually, you're gonna laugh at this one. So yesterday, I had an actual in-person proposal meeting for a website build. So I actually had to wear a collared shirt and my jeans and some nice shoes. I'm like, man, I had to get I get dressed every day now because I get kicked out of the house. I don't just work, in my bedroom anymore. But I'm like, I actually got dressed up for work.
Wow.
First time I've gotten quote unquote dressed up in a while.
That's crazy.
Because other places I just wear a t-shirt, hoodie, or whatever. But there's that crack. There's the crack of the can, dude. I realized something while you disappeared from us last episode.
Yeah, right.
I think this is still in the recording. I'll have to go back and I think it's still in the recording. But we did not do questions in a box last episode.
I know, because typically I have them on my phone, but I'm using my phone as my camera right now.
Oh, that's true. But I'm like, we have no review to read this episode. So I'm going to pull it up real quick. So it's, would you rather, here we go. It's loading right now. Okay. Normal questions. Oh, here's a good question. You ready? All right, Fuller and listeners, because listeners, you guys can enjoy the party too. Would you rather be blind with amazing musical ability or be deaf with amazing artistic ability?
Ooh.
That's rough, man.
Can I change it up a little bit?
No, this is the question.
Can I do an option C? It's similar, but it's a little bit different.
Okay.
So can I be deaf but see music in color?
Like Autumn Rush?
Have you heard of some of these people? Like they're deaf, but they see music in color. It's
I've
really
never
cool.
heard of that.
Look it up on YouTube, man. That's the superpower I want.
Dang. Honestly, though, I think I would rather be blind with amazing musical ability. But at the same token, though, but it's like, if I'm blind, I can't see the kids, I can't see my wife, I can't see the creation around me. But if I'm deaf, I can't hear them talk or laugh,
Or enjoy music or podcasts.
Right. Right. But check this out. 59% of people would rather be deaf with amazing artistic ability. So that's really interesting. Here's a good one. Would you rather be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company or be the president of a prominent country?
CEO.
Yeah, me too. They're both awful. Oh, here's the last one.
Less politics.
Less politics. Well, speaking of politics, would you rather be the president or be a Pokemon trainer?
Pokemon trainer.
100. Wow. 58% said president.
I don't even like Pokemon, but I would rather not be the president.
Really?
Because the president's going to take a bunch of heat and a bunch of flack for everything.
It's true. It is true. Oh, an ad just popped up. I was going to do one more. Okay, that's a terrible question. This is a good last one. You ready? Would you guys rather work for a boss that you hate, but you make really good money, or would you rather work for a boss that you love, but make minimum wage?
Well, I've kind of experienced both. I'm in the first one right now.
You cut out what?
I don't. I said I've been to both. So right now I'm in a job where I make good money, but I don't necessarily like my bosses.
But this is like pure hatred. Like you hate your boss.
Yeah. See, I guess I'd rather enjoy my work experience, because for me, my work affects my life.
It's
like
true.
If I have a bad day at work, then I usually, even though I may not talk about it, I'll make carries over.
I struggle with that one though, man, because it's like you got to pay the rent,
You do, but money can't buy happiness.
It's true. But guess this, 76% of people said they'd rather work for a boss they hate and make good money. 24% said they'd rather work for a great boss and make minimum wage.
Yeah.
So there you go. Well, dude, it's been 15 minutes since we pressed record. Should we get into this conversation?
We better get into it before I freeze again.
Oh, goodness, yeah, and you get kicked out? Goodness, well, set this one up, man. Like, what made you think of this episode?
Well, it's been on our back burner queue for a long time, and I forget if it might have been one of your original ideas, like when we were first brainstorming about different topics we'd want to hit on.
I know it's an OG episode idea, that's for sure.
Yeah, and so it's not necessarily, I think, what you were thinking when we were going to talk about social media, but maybe it is. I don't know. We're going to jump into it, but I was just sitting back and thinking about how much social media has affected our life. And just from everything that we do. And then Janelle goes, I said, Janelle, what would be a good podcast topic? And she goes, hey, how about like Christians and how they use social media, like for good or for bad? And I'm like, I've been thinking about that. It's an OG episode that Mark thought about. Maybe it's a good one to hit on this week.
Well, I feel like it's a relevant conversation too right now, you know?
Well, I mean, we all use social media. I mean, they say on average it's, well, we'll get into the stats here in a second.
It's like, yeah.
But I wanted to read a quick quote from Relevant Magazine.
Oh, I love Relevant. Yep.
And obviously I put the link in the show notes if people and listeners want to go and check out the whole article. But Tim Arndt says, what you do and say on social media actually matters. While many Christians carry themselves with kindness and grace at church, once they tap that social media app, they transform into some kind of snarling beast. Christians are called to be Christ's ambassadors. Therefore, we are ambassadors of Christ, making God making his appeal through us. That's 2 Corinthians 5:20. But for some reason on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, many times it seems like Christ is completely absent from our minds. And that is
that's a strong quote.
But it's so true. I mean, in so many aspects of life, I see it. But before we dive into that, let's look at some stats, okay?
Okay.
Because I know you're a stat guy.
I love my stats.
So I'm going to run through. This is Oberlo.com, and we'll have the link in the show notes if people want to look into it more. But it's you need to know daily active social media users. Currently, there are 3.78 billion social media users, which equates to about 48% of the population of the world. Facebook is the market leader. Facebook remains the most widely used social media platform. Roughly 2/3 of U.S. adults, or 68%, now report that they use Facebook. Social media users by generation, 18 to 29-year-olds, 84% of them use it. 30 to 49, 81%. 50 to 64, 73%. And 65 and above is 45%.
I want to know which millennial does not use social media. That's what I want to know.
Well, people in the mountains are in prison. I don't know.
That's true. That is true.
Time spent on average on social media per day is 2.5 hours on social networks and messaging. The power of social media marketing, 73% of marketers believe social media marketing has been somewhat effective or very effective for their businesses. And 54% of social browsers use social media to research products. 71% of consumers who have had a positive experience with social brand on social media are likely to recommend the brand to their family and friends. And it just goes on and on. Well, here's one. Instagram story usage. This is one you'll like, Mark.
Yep.
Daily active Instagram stories users increased from 150 million in January 2017 to 500 million daily active stories in January 2019. Which is
and I want to see what the stats are for Reels, Instagram Reels. Right. That's the stat I really want to see, but we don't have those stats yet.
No, and then the last one I'll do is 91% of all social media users access social channels via mobile devices. Likewise, almost 80% of total time spent on social media sites occur on mobile platforms. So most people are using their phones to access social media sites. I just thought those were some pretty interesting stats.
It's the fact that a lot of usage, yeah.
It's a part of our daily life. You know, if you went back to 80s and early 90s, prior to social media, cell phones, and all this stuff, I mean, you never even heard of. You'd have to go to the library to look up even a stats book, and usually by then it was outdated.
Right.
Right. So it's just crazy how much information we have at our fingertips. But the most important thing is, how are Christians using this information, this power, this influence, as we see all this influence over social media, or social media has, how are we using it for good, using it for evil type of thing? So just a quick rundown. Mark, what do you think some of the pros of using social media are from a Christian's perspective?
Well, for me, it helps pay the bills.
Right? Yeah, no, it does.
No, but from a Christian perspective, I mean, this is a very pertinent one to you and I. I mean, this is how our small group used to communicate. We only communicated through Facebook Messenger.
Right.
And we did that for years. And then,
Right.
it lets us be able to be in touch with one another. So like during COVID, people were posting things. We all were commenting. We were able to at least see what was going on in each other's lives. And so there's no denying that some version of even surface level connectivity is really positive. And I know for me personally, I follow a lot of Christian accounts. And and I remember a sermon that Sway preached at church on I don't know, maybe a few years ago. And he goes, a lot of people they do Instagram devos where they just scroll through Instagram, but it's like, that's a little vitamin. That ain't like a whole meal,
Right.
But I still follow Desiring God and the Gospel Coalition and various churches and pastors and just Christian thought leaders. And there's a lot of people that we interact with on our own Instagram who are creating these absolutely amazing social media posts that are both educational. I call them mini sermons. Like some people do little mini sermons on Instagram where you can actually learn theology and the gospel and how it all works. So it also is able to be used as a education platform as well. So there's, I think, so many pros out there, and it also helps to see, like, in a world where being a Christian is hard. In all honesty, there's a lot of things that get made fun of. It's cool to still see, okay, there's still a lot of people out there who do love Jesus, and I'm not alone in all this mess. And so I would say those are probably the main few that pop into my head right away. These are pros of social media for Christians.
Okay. Yeah, I had 7 that came into my mind.
You had 7. You had God's number.
Well, today when I was typing all my notes out, it was the day of 7 because everything's got like 7 bulletins to it.
Oh my goodness. We're gonna call this the God Bless Number episode. That's what this one is.
God bless you, social media.
This is the episode of perfection. How about that?
All right. So I said something very similar to what you said. Helps believers stay in contact with fellow believers through the week. That includes church family, friends, stuff like that. Number 2, gives another thing that you mentioned, gives Christians access to sermons, articles, blogs, preaching content through the week to help aid in learning of the Bible. Not solely take over, and that should be only a thing, but aid along with your daily reading, your daily prayers, and you're getting together as an assembly with believers. Number 3, it allows, when you are unable to attend a service, aka this guy right here for the past 2 months, on a Sunday for whatever reason, an avenue to still be involved with the church via streaming.
Yep, that's true. That's true.
For me, that's a huge thing because I've had to be in lockdown for the past. I was sick. My kids were sick. We went on vacation, came back. My in-laws had COVID, so we were on lockdown for 10 days. And then we came to church one week, and then I missed last week because I had my little stay in the hospital. And I don't know if I'll be there this week. It all depends on how I feel between now and Sunday. So it's just a good way for me, people like me in my circumstance or other circumstances, to be able to still be involved with their body of believers. Number 4, it can allow for presence of the gospel through emails, PMs, comments, posts, etc., etc. We do it a lot here on RTC. We post not only our social aspects, our listening aspects, our video aspects, but Mark, you're really good about posting out just little one-liners. You're really good with that, and I've always been really impressed with your artwork. So
my one-line. What do you mean my one-liners? Like,
well, you get little like one-liner like quotes in your pictures. Like,
I got you.
Like,
yeah,
your little one-liners.
I do a lot. Well, that's what so a lot of it I go, okay, and this is just a little tidbit into my head. A lot of stuff that I create for Instagram and Facebook is meant for you guys to share in your stories so other people can see too.
Right. Yeah. So, but it's a great avenue to be able to do that. And we here at RTC do it all the time.
Yep.
And for that reason. Number 5, it can help with organizing a church event or letting others know, aka like missions work, missionary work in your local city or town. Number 6, helps those who are searching for a church have access to previous sermons, events involved with a specific church, and kind of gives a window into that specific church's life, through sermons, through statements of faith. This is all website. It's a digital content. I know it's not like a Facebook. Typically when we say social media platforms, we think Facebook, Instagram, but it is another form of a platform, is a website.
Well, it's true. And that's how I actually help teach churches is, your website, I say, is your front door. Like, right. People are going to go to your website before they even walk into your church, but they want to look into the window to see what's going on. And that's the beautiful thing about Facebook. Right,
exactly. And this gives that window into those specific things about a church when you're searching for a church. And number 7, it allows for encouragement and uplifting to take place amongst believers. How many times have we said, hey, I got a prayer request, or hey, I have an unspoken, can you guys please pray for me? And people are like, I'm all over it. I'm all over it. And people maybe that you haven't even talked to in a couple of years see it, and go, oh, yeah, we're all over it. So it doesn't just keep you in contact with your close friends, but maybe friends that aren't so close. For me, every once in a while, I'll still hear from Sarah Nass. And I will comment back and forth on Facebook or Instagram. And, we went to high school together. We were, homeschool, but we did the high school, drama activities together. And so it helps us stay in contact, me finding out what's going on with her and her husband and her kids. And
that's how we got her on the show,
Right, exactly. And so it was just a fun way to stay in contact with her. So, man, there's so many great aspects of social media. So many great aspects from a Christian's perspective. Now, the flip side of the coin. Mark, what are some cons of social media from a Christian perspective?
I don't know. I don't know if there are any, bro.
Oh,
no.
Guess what? I didn't do that. I didn't do 6 here. I did 7.
You did 7. Goodness. No, I mean, and I didn't look at. I tried very hard to not look at your notes because I didn't want to steal any of them.
I'm okay with that.
But the ones that first come to mind is the ones that I'm always nervous about is the fact of, since everyone thinks they have a platform, everyone says whatever they want to say and it goes unchecked. That's a big one. There's a lot of pastors out there who have phenomenal platforms but crappy theology. That scares me a little bit.
Yeah.
And this
Todd White.
Get it. But even like when we were, in high school, maybe you college, because you an old kid. But like for me, junior high and high school, there was the whole thing about, you could text someone or, text a girl, text a dude, something that you would never say to their face, whether bullying or sexting or whatever. And it just get ramped up on social media and the comments. Like I'll be reading through comments and I'm like, if you would say this to someone's face, you get punched. Now, obviously, we can't read tone. We can't read what people are trying to communicate. But it's almost people have a unadulterated, unfiltered way of saying whatever the heck they want to say, and no one can stop them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that part frustrates me. And it's like, or like I've seen church members, they'll share things to Soche's wall or they'll share things to my wall. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not right. That's just not right. And so I guess the biggest cons with that is since people can say whatever they want to say, they will say whatever they want to say, which I do struggle with. As Americans, we have freedom to say what we want to say, but how do we say it and not give up our convictions and beliefs? And if we have a strong opinion about stuff, how do we say it without causing separation between people,
Yeah. I mean, those are all fantastic.
That's my list. Oh, of course they're fantastic. I said them, bro.
I should have called you and texted you before I wrote out my 7 now.
Why, are they the same?
No. Well, maybe some of them, but
give it to me.
All right, so 7. I put it can be an avenue for us to be in the flesh while hiding behind a screen. Very similar.
Ooh, I like wording that one. I like the wording of that one.
But it's similar to what you said. It's that boldness of you want to say it to their face, but you're behind a screen. So I'm going to cuss you out. As a Christian, I would never do that because I'd be afraid of people seeing me do it. But behind the computer screen, I might send you a DM or a PM or a text or a sext or whatever, exactly what you said, that is allowing me to be in the flesh while I'm behind the screen.
Right.
It's kind of like being placed in a fighter jet and just going and blowing up every town rather than just actually just flying the plane to go transport it somewhere.
That's true. Oh, I have an extra con. I thought of another con.
Go for it.
It creates fake relationships.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Did you have that one? Did you have that one?
No, but
I got it.
All right.
Keep going, bro. Keep going.
Number 2 is it's a chance to be overly negative. How often have you seen the woes of this or that normally you wouldn't see when you talk to people?
It's true.
Right? And people are like, well, I'm just being real on social media. But are you? Because you're not that way in person.
There's a difference between being real and being a real jerk.
Oh, exactly.
You know?
So number 3, it's a chance to be self-elevating. Now, this was a tough one for me. So as I'm sitting here thinking it, and I was reading different articles, listening to different podcasts about it. It's very true. It's so easy to get in the habit of look at me, look at me, look at me, look at all I've done, my accomplishments, and look what everything's going on. It's me, it's me, it's me, it's mine, and elevating yourself. In a Christian's life, that can be a con. We're supposed to be humble. We're not supposed to have people look to us. We're supposed to point them to Christ. And so,
right. And it creates that FOMO too, where it's like, oh, they have a perfect life. I need to have the perfect life. And that's not any way to live. Right.
Exactly. So number 4, it's a chance to hide behind lies. Am I lying about the life I'm actually living? As I'm self-elevating, am I saying, oh, look at me, I'm so great, I'm so superior to everybody else, when really I'm not. My life's falling apart around me. It's a lie. It's a facade. It's a chance to, you could say, hey, oh man, I saw that game too. I saw this game too, or I was here, or I was there. How many times have we seen Photoshop on social media?
Oh goodness, yeah, dude, a lot of crap.
But not only that, but look at all the misinformation that floats around out on social media. It's just one of them avenues that people can hide behind lies. It's a con. Number 5 is the one that you mentioned, being led astray by false teachings or teachers. It's a very scary thing for a Christian. For me, especially, I've been led astray. My dad's been led astray prior to social media, but it's still something that's very prevalent.
But it's so much quicker. Like, they talk about this with the porn epidemic. It's like if you wanted to go get a Playboy, you had to go to a store, you had to buy it, you had to hide it. Versus now, it's like, hey, give me like 2 clicks, And it's just it's a whole different world, man.
Right, exactly. And it's scary. So that leads into number 6, a chance to look at things that are not pleasing to God. So this could be pornography. This could be your sexting. This could just be oogling and ogling over a guy or gal.
Oogling and ogling.
Yeah, you like that? I threw that in there just for you.
That's an old phrase. Okay, I see you.
Oogling and ogling.
Oogling and ogling.
You know who I heard that from, right? I just watched the very first pilot episode of Suits last night.
Oh.
I restarted watching that. So Meghan Markle, Princess Meghan, says ogling. You're ogling over me. And
I will say, I enjoyed that show until like season 2.5 or 3, and I'm like, everyone's just sleeping with everybody, and this is getting weird.
Really, I just like the first season.
Yeah, the first season's good. The first season's really good. Yo, keep going, bro.
But yeah, so it's one of those avenues that you could, be sending sexting pictures to your boyfriend or girlfriend or your fiance or just some stranger, wacko weirdo.
Right. Or as you're just scrolling Insta or you're scrolling through Facebook, all of a sudden it's like, oh snap! Like I like that picture.
I can't tell you how many times I've been scrolling through Insta and they have those people that do those, what is it, my fan page or whatever the heck it's called.
OnlyFans?
Why does it pop up on my feed? I don't know. I don't use TikTok all that often, but it pulls up, not my Instagram, my TikTok. It'll just, and I scroll past it real quick because I don't even want to be tempted by it, But
it's a struggle when it's always thrown in your face,
Yeah, right. So, and then number 7, it's an avenue to allow Christians to spend more time away from God and his people.
Oh, dang. You ain't talking about me, are you? Oh, dang.
No, not you. I would never, maybe me, but not you.
Yeah, don't look at my screen time.
It's a time where I find myself, I'd be with my family and, being on Facebook or Insta or, Twitter or whatever it would be, YouTube, TikTok, rather than being present with my family. How many times have I been in a a gathering of believers, and I'm like, oh, let me just check somebody sent me a message on Messenger. Let me just check it real fast. And Mark, but it is.
I don't know who you talking to, but it ain't me.
I said me, but when you started squirming, I had to call you then too.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But it is. It's one of those things that sometimes, if we're not careful with it, it can. And I'm not saying it's always a con. Again, that's why I wanted to start with the pros.
But it can be.
I wanted to start with the pros of social media before the cons, because I think there is a right and a wrong way to use social media. I don't think social media is all bad. I know you don't think it is. So there's a lot of good uses for social media. It's how we use social media. It's just like there's a good way to watch TV. It's just how. What are we watching on TV? It's the same. It's good to work out, but how much time? It's a balance of everything. Anything we do in life, there's a balance. Work and family, that's a balance. Church and family, that's a balance. There's all these balancing acts that we're constantly have to do, especially as Christians. Social media is another aspect of. All right, now we see some pros. Now we see some cons. Mark, I'm going to let you finish up from here and talk. So what does that mean for believers, and how do we use social media?
I think this is where I struggle the most because, Instagram and Facebook and so many other social media platforms are just the highlight reels, it feels like. And, but the trend that I have seen happen lately is the, like the post where people are talking about how hard it is, or the cry or the grief. And I look at that, and I actually asked Beth the other day, I'm like, are these posts helpful? Like, I don't understand it. Like, I'm honestly not a big poster. If I post something on Facebook, it's because for RTC or it's for my work.
Business.
It's either a Mark Hyde creative post or it's an RTC post. Like that's basically it. Or a picture of the cute kids. Like just
I was saying, or it's a repost from Beth.
Exactly. Or today when I went downstairs and I couldn't find Lucy because she was laying underneath one of the kitchen chairs watching a video on her iPad. Like, like it was just hilarious. Right. But I'm trying to remember what my train of thought was. But since it's such a highlight reel, I feel like it causes us Christians to respond in one of two ways. Either A, have FOMO of like, oh, my life isn't as good as theirs. I wish I had that. And that's, going back to even a 10 commandment of don't covet your neighbor's stuff or don't cover your neighbor's life. We're all called to be stewards. Someone might have 10 talents. One person might only have one, or, let's just say $1 billion. One person might only have $10. Like, we're supposed to be good stewards of what we have rather than so focused on what's out there. And then also on the flip side, though, I see other people using it as this is just going to be me. I am unashamedly, unapologetically, and then you just name the list. And then for some reason that gives people the excuse to say whatever the heck they want to say. Right. And this is a struggle that I think that most other places or time frames in the world didn't have to deal with, because you spoke out against the emperor, your head was chopped off. You spoke out against the government, you were done. Like, there was no conversation, And I'm not saying Christians should or shouldn't, but a question that I actually struggle with is we have the freedom of speech, so we can say things, we can disagree with it. And we're in a culture right now where if you say anything against mainstream thought, it's a hate crime. And that obviously doesn't give you a good standing in the community. But then also some people who are unbelievers, people are just like, oh, those Christians just, they're anti-love because they don't do this. They're anti-this. They're anti-that. And it's like, no, this is just a common beliefs that we have, and we're sharing stuff about it. And I think that's the thing that I've seen the most with Christians on social media is it either becomes here's the highlight reel, or I call it Facebook journals, where it's like, like when you write down your journals, woe was me, obviously people like screw this or F that. And it's like, I don't need to know your business between what's going on in your family. Like, keep your business in your business. We don't need to see it on Facebook. And so I guess I just see Christians, specifically the ones that I tend to see or follow, unapologetically state whatever they want to believe, and they don't really give a crap what you think about it because they have the freedom to do that. Freedom as an American to do that.
Yeah.
or I see the flip side where it's the fact of people only post highlight reels. And I guess I struggle with it in some regards, because it's like, you can't be sitting there posting all the time. It's like, oh, here's my Bible like lesson that I'm learning 24/7, or you can't be posting this. So I struggle with what's the proper way to use it. And I know I'm kind of just randomly and processing out loud, and I'm trying to remember the exact question that you asked me.
That's right.
Of what the Christian response is to it.
How do you think believers should utilize social media today?
So here's what I would say to directly answer the question. Christians should use social media, to connect with one another, to not lose connection, because that's what social media is about. And use it as a way to stay engaged in people's lives, to bring that into the real world. Like, this is something that I think, I'll just say it, that Pastor Scott and Laura do really well with. They'll see something on Facebook, and if they need to call or text you just to check in, just to see what's going on, they'll ask you about it to you. If it's like, hey, I saw this online. How you doing? You doing okay? Let's talk about this. Which is, that's the way it's supposed to be. Or, you can have shared common experiences. I think another thing that us Christians can do is use our content and use our platform to share things that are wholesome, that are edifying, that are uplifting, that can encourage and grow one another, because that's the point of it, And then honestly, the other one that I see, and this is what I use it a lot for, is I'm actually connected with a lot of unsaved people as well that are friends of mine. So it lets me, again, going back to the beginning of, it lets me see what's going on in their lives, so I can step in and speak into that when I actually see them. That's one of the big things that I do with it. What you got, homie?
Awesome. Well, I want to speak to how Christians and believers should use social media, but not from like aside from business, right?
Okay.
For me, I think social media is always good for a business. Like for you, that's how your business thrives. That's how a lot of businesses.
That's how I get more clients. Yeah.
So this is when I say how should we use it, I'm not saying, I don't want people coming back and being like, well, what about for businesses? What about for, that's the whole.
No, this is just Christians interacting.
Christians, how we should interact as Christians on Facebook. So these are kind of my 7 do's and don'ts, and there's many more, but these are my 7. I think you should, 1, use it for encouraging and uplifting one another. 1 Thessalonians 5:11 says, therefore, encourage one another and build each other up as you are already doing. This is Paul speaking to the church in Thessalonica. I can't ever say it. Whatever.
Thessalonica.
It's my 6th word. You know what I mean?
6th. Yep, my 6th. Yep, I got you.
Number 2, we should always try to be honest and truthful. Proverbs 12:17 says, whoever speaks the truth declares what is right, but a false witness speaks deceit. So again, being honest and truthful. Number 3, I think being kind with your words. Following up that one about truth and honesty, Proverbs 12:18 says, there is one who speaks rashly like a piercing sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. We see this riddled throughout Scripture about how using your words and bridling your tongue and encouraging and uplifting and speaking kindness and speaking truth and speaking love. And it's so true. And I really like what Proverbs 12:18 says. It says the tongue of the wise brings healing, right? The one who speaks rashly is like a piercing sword. I mean, so it's like I'm chopping the head off, stabbing somebody, killing them. Whereas if I'm wise with my words, I'm bringing healing into their lives. Number 4, don't post about taking a social media fast.
I didn't even think about that one.
This one drives me nuts.
Oh, man.
I'm talking about, I'm just going to take a break from social media. I'm going to take a break from Facebook. I'm going to take a break. See you guys
later. It's for Jesus.
Yeah. To me, this is how I equate it, right? I equate it to Matthew 6:16 through 18. Whenever you fast, don't be gloomy like the hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces so that the fasting is obvious to the people, truly I tell you, they have their reward. But when you fast, put on the oil on your head and wash your face so that your fasting isn't obvious to others, but to the Father who is in secret, and the Father who is in secret will reward you. So if you're going to truly take a fast from social media, just keep it to yourself. Like, to me, that's one of my biggest pet peeves is somebody's like,
hey, look at me.
Zach, look at me. I'm taking a break. And I know that there's one person in my mind, I'm not going to say their name, but this person used to do it all the time. They'd get like all mad and upset because people weren't agreeing with them. And they'd be like, I got to take a break from Facebook because it's so negative. I got to take a break from Instagram.
Just bounce.
So,
just bounce, bro.
It's like, why do you need to say, just, if you're going to leave, leave. Like, I don't need the big grand extra time leaving. This isn't a Shakespeare play. If you're truly going to take a break or a fast from social media, just go. Just
like Bob Felicia.
Go. And if somebody reaches out and asks, explain it to them. But you don't got to announce it to the world. Number 5, don't be a spiritual bragger. This is another thing that drives me nuts. And it's something that's very prominent in the Christian circles of the Lord was just really speaking to me today, and blasting it out on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever you want to use. To me, it's again, look at me. Look what the Lord is giving to me. It's the point. It's self-elevating. It's a Matthew 6:5. Whenever you pray, you must not be like the hypocrites, because they love to pray standing in the synagogues and the street corners to be seen by people. Truly, I tell you, they have the reward. And those people that stand on their soapbox saying, thus saith the Lord, or the Lord spoke this to me, or this is what the Lord doing in my life, social media is just not the place for it. It's not. That's one thing if you want to share it with your friends and family, your tribe, your church family.
I mean, if you don't mind me pushing back a little bit on this one,
Go for it.
I'm not saying be a spiritual bragger, but I follow some people that talk about struggles that are going on in their lives and how God's working through it with them, and that's kind of part of their platform. And I see that encouraging so many other people and other followers. So where's the balance between look at me and all the work I'm doing for the kingdom versus, and I also wrestle with, should churches be posting when they do events for their community? Like, oh, look what the good we're doing for people. I wrestle with that one.
Well,
then the helpful side,
So I think posting, like churches posting events and stuff, I don't think that's a look at me. That's an invite. That's an invitation.
No, I'm talking about afterwards. Like, hey, we gave out 100 backpacks. Look what we did.
Yeah, I'm not for it. To me, that's just a look what we did. Yeah. Exactly what you said. Hey, we gave out 100 backpacks. Look what we did.
But it's also hard because the community is also like, oh, okay, they actually are doing something for us. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but how much of the community is actually going to look at that? Typically, it's not. Typically, it's the Christian community of the church side. Oh, yeah, look, our church gave 100 backpacks. Look what we did. And that's not what it's supposed to be about. You're supposed to give your gifts in secret, right? That's what we're supposed to do. And likewise, when we stand up and say, hey, look at what God is doing in my life, it's different if you've got like here's the 9 spiritual things that God has brought me through that have taught me a lesson, and you're teaching a lesson. And there's another one that's just saying, look at me. There's a difference between those two platforms.
And I think it's a fine line. You got to skirt that line real hard,
I think you have to be careful, but there's a lot of this stuff you have to be careful with. I think that, when we talked about self-elevating, how many times, that's basically the whole purpose of social media is to, hey, look what's going on right now, or hey, look at this. And so that, again, it's a very fine line that you have to balance there. And I think there is a line that gets crossed a lot because of the look at me attitude. And check yourself before you wreck yourself.
I like it. I like it.
So number 6, don't get into pointless arguments. This is a big one, and there's so many scriptures on it. But I in honor of your actual first name, I had to pick 2 Timothy.
Thank you.
2 Timothy 2:23-25. But reject foolish and ignorant disputes, because you know that they breed quarrels. Tell me that ain't social media, Facebook.
It's true.
Especially nowadays. The Lord's servants must not quarrel, but must be gentle to everyone, able to teach and be patient, instructing his opponents with gentleness. Perhaps God will grant them repentance, leading them to knowledge of the truth. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
And you can't be doing that on a Facebook chat. You can't be. I mean, in a chat maybe, but you can't be doing that on Facebook comment sections. Like, heck no.
Yeah, I look at.
Oh, bro.
So I belong to the Chosen fan club page, right?
Okay.
And the whole pointless arguments going back and forth of between the Catholics saying there's Protestant bashers and Protestants saying there's Catholic bashers, and back and forth, and it's pointless. right? That's not even what it's about. You guys have missed the point. All you guys are doing is attacking each other and quarreling amongst each other. You guys have totally missed
the point, totally. Right?
Like that wasn't what the whole purpose was. That's what we should be doing. But it's even beyond that. You know, we talked about a little bit a couple of weeks ago with the what's going on in our world, and getting into these debates and truth, and when should we speak truth, and when should we just like hold back and just let the fool be the fool. But when should we correct the fool? And again, there's a fine line between that. What is it? But I think if you're getting into a point of it's just become an argument, and there's a point where you can kind of tell, hey, this person, no matter what I say, no matter what truth I bring, is going to change their point of view. Now you're in a pointless argument.
Especially when it's keyboard warrior versus keyboard warrior,
Right.
And that's why I love that. I love that podcast, Unbelievable, with the question mark with Justin Riley, because it puts two people together that have opposing views, whether Christian, atheist, or not. And it's like, we're going to have a conversation. We're going to have a discussion. This is not a debate. This is now debate happens, but it's a civil conversation because, it talks about it like instructing his opponent with gentleness. Perhaps, it doesn't say perhaps you'll convince them, but it says perhaps God will grant them repentance.
Right, exactly. So it's one thing to really strive for is just to be aware, very often, how many times have you and I, we've gotten a comment on the RTC Facebook or something, and it's like, no, this, and it's like, okay, but this is where we're coming from, and they're like, no, this, and it's like, okay, this is not going anywhere. We're trying to give you why we believe what we believe, and you're just saying,
and you're slapping it back, right?
Well, you're just repeating the same thing over and over again, just wording it differently. That just tells me right there that you are not really here to have a conversation. You're trying to push your point of view down, whether it's right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, it's a fruitless conversation that's not going to go anywhere because there is no listening. That's the big thing. If they're not listening or you're not listening, you're just thinking of the next comeback. It's fruitless, and it's a pointless argument. So, did you hear that, or was that just me? Maybe it was just me.
I heard what was
Sorry,
it?
My phone went off.
Oh, I heard a little dunk.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
So anyways, number 7, my final point. I know I've been kind of dragging on a little bit, but this is a big one we say on RTC all the time. Remember, when you're on social media, that you are an ambassador for Christ. You are an ambassador. You are a representative. You call yourself Christian if you're known as a Christian. You're an ambassador. If you are a Christian, you're not known as a Christian, you better check yourself, because everybody should probably know at least that you're a Christian and that you serve God. Not whether you go around preaching and teaching. That's a whole different thing. Not everybody's gifted to do that. But,
right. Yep.
But if they can't tell you the difference between you and somebody who's not saved, there's a problem. So again, I said it in the beginning, and I want to kind of tie it off here, and then we'll kind of I got one more thing that I want to talk about real fast, and then we'll kind of land the plane. But 2 Corinthians 5:20, we read it in the beginning of the podcast. Therefore, we are ambassadors for Christ, certain that God is appealing through us. We plead on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. Also, my very favorite verse, Matthew 5:16.
Yep.
In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. Not glory to you, but glory to your Father. These are two pivotal and very important scriptures that constantly remind us that, hey, the world is looking at us, and we are image bearers of Christ. When we call ourselves a Christian, we bear the image of Christ. And do you want to help somebody draw closer to God, or are you going to be the one that helps them stumble away from God?
Yeah, and let me add a verse to it real quick, if you don't mind. Galatians 5:13. I've talked about this one quite a bit, and I hinted at it earlier. This is the CSB's translation version. It says, "For you are called to be free, brothers and sisters. Only don't use this freedom as an opportunity for your own flesh, but serve one another through love."
And there's many more scriptures that talk about this type of thing. So thank you, Mark. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
You're so sweet. So the last thing I want to do, I just want to read 21 essential proverbs for Christians on social media. This comes from communicatejesus.com. And I'm just going to read the headlines. I'm not going to read the scriptures they have behind it. I highly recommend you go to our show notes and check out this article. It gives all the scriptures with it. But I thought it was a very decent article. It wasn't a whole lot of thought. It was just hey, here's a headline, here's the scripture backing up. Here's a headline, here's scripture. So pursue diligence, flee distraction, seal your lips, think before you blurt, check your motives, let it go.
Let it go.
Don't walk with fools, don't talk with fools. Gently does it. No one likes a show off. Don't publicize your foolishness. I love that last one because how often in my younger days, in the height of social media coming alive, Facebook user since 2007.
Don't publicize your foolishness.
Facebook user since 2007 over here, when it was starting to really get popular. I used to post all sorts of my foolishness all over the internet all the time. I am guilty, and I was guilty of posting, and that's why I don't post much anymore, other than stuff for pretty much RTC.
Yep. And The Chosen.
And The Chosen, because I posted so much foolishness early on in my life and early on in social media platforms that I've done enough for a lifetime, so I don't have to do it no more.
You're good. You're good. Let other people do it.
I'm good now. So
I like that though. Don't publicize your foolishness.
Yeah,
I like that, man.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just a word. That's a sentence we need to live by, bro. Just don't publish. Like you already are an idiot. Just don't publicize it.
I like the don't listen to fools, don't talk to fools.
It's true, but that's the hard question though, where it's like the proverb says, "Answer a fool lest they be wise in their own eyes," but then don't answer a fool lest you become a fool like them. So it's like,
yeah. And again, I think it all comes back to motives. And that's why I liked in that little 21 Proverbs thing from Communicate Jesus. It was like, check your motives. It's like, that's a very good reminder. Check your motives. Why do you feel the need to post this back? Is it because you want to be right? Is it because you want a brain flex on them? Is it because you want a Jesus flex on them? What's the purpose of this? Is it truly teaching? Do you truly think it'll help? It's all that checking the motives before I hit click send. Type it out. Just don't hit send until you check your motives.
I've done that. How many times have you typed something up and went, nah, that ain't good. Delete.
All the time. So what I do.
Oh, man.
When I'm angry typing, have you ever angry typed?
Oh, yeah. 100%. So
I angry type, and I set my phone I get away from my computer. I set it down and I walk away. I go take a little walk, get a cup of water or drink coffee, pray a little bit, and I come back and I reread it. And 9 times out of 10, I delete it.
Yep. It's true.
So, that's all I got, man. Do you have any?
No, dude, that wrapped it up super well. I think it's just the fact that people are watching. What are they seeing? I think that's a good truth to live by. I like it, my friend. Well, dude, ready for some fun facts?
Let's do it, bro.
Time for Fun Facts with February.
That laugh, bro, every time.
Every time. Even if nobody else likes it, we like it.
Well, no, we had one review, and they said they love how we cap off the episode with a fun fact. So we're doing something right, bro.
That's true. But
we are doing something right.
Today, one fun fact is we haven't froze yet on our video feed.
We glitched a couple times, but not too bad. Not too bad.
Well, we buffered, but we haven't had the hard stop.
We haven't had to stop, and then I have to stall for a minute to go, what on earth just happened here? I don't know what's going on.
And texting me and calling me, and it's just not coming through.
But we made it. So far. Yeah. So far, we made it. We made it the important stuff.
We better wrap it up quick. All right. Listeners and Mark, did you know roller coasters were invented to distract Americans from sin?
You did this one already.
Did I?
Uh-huh.
No.
Uh-huh.
No.
Uh-huh.
I don't think so.
You say it. I'm going to Google it, because I know this one.
In the 1880s, hosiery businessman LaMarcus Thompson hated that Americans were tempted by hedonistic places like saloons and brothels, so he set out to straighten up one of the most immoral places he could think of, Coney Island in New York. There, he built America's first roller coaster to give New Yorkers some good, clean fun away from their senior pastimes. I am 99.9% sure I've never done that one.
You did it in the Enneagram episode.
And the what one?
In the Enneagram one?
No.
Uh-huh.
Go back and look.
I pulled it up in Evernote.
I'm going to look. Which episode was that?
I'm looking up the number right now. Okay, I'm at real. Just for the advertisement's sake, I'm gonna have some music over me while I do this. I am at realtalkchristianpodcast.com. I click listen. I click view all episodes, and bam, there's every single episode we ever have done. Oops, that's the wrong search feature.
By the way, you were right. We did
episode 26, homie. Episode 26. Love
Dang
languages,
it.
Myers-Briggs, and the Enneagram. Wha-bam!
Dang it.
Well, okay. Last time, well,
Wow.
we recently had a fun fact about Paraguay, and we forgot which episode that was, and we're still waiting for a listener to tell us just where that fun fact was that we talked about with Paraguay.
I don't see it in our Enneagram notes.
At the very bottom, personality tests.
Yeah, that one for Enneagram was Sean Connery wore a toupee in all of his James Bond movies.
On January 1st, 2020 notes?
No, I'm looking at Enneagram 2720.
I don't know, dude, but I got it here from
Personality
2020.
test. Okay, I see, I got it. Dang it, I did do it. Man, I'm getting bad. I'm starting to run out of fun facts.
Fuller's running out of content, guys. But hey, he may be running out of content for Fun Facts with Fuller, but we ain't running out of content for Real Talk Christian Podcast anytime soon because we got a lot more fun stuff to cover, my dude. But hey, we have so many new listeners. Let's be honest. They needed a refresh.
No, nobody else would have remembered it but you.
Besides me and my really obnoxious brain that remembers things that it doesn't need to remember, but then it can't remember things it's supposed to remember. Oh, goodness, man.
In all fairness, that was like a year and 9 months ago. So, I mean.
That's unreal. Oh, goodness, guys. We were so glad you guys joined us for another episode of Real Talk Christian Podcast. Just like always, just like where I was at, realtalkchristianpodcast.com. You can find all the episodes there. Hey, maybe you're trying to figure out, hey, I need some help with the basics of Christianity or maybe Christian walk or maybe even just about the church in general. We categorize all of our episodes. Hit the homepage. We help you with the Christian faith. Click on one of those little buttons. And the relevant episodes for the topic you want are all listed right there. Hit us up at Facebook and Instagram, realtalkchristianpodcast.com. realtalkchristianpodcast@gmail.com is the email. The phone number is what? 574-400-5352?
Yes, sir.
Did I get it? Oh, goodness, dude. Well, hey, we are at the end of the music, so I guess we got to end the episode, huh?
Yep.
I love it, man. So. Well, hey, I'll start the music over because it's just so pretty. But anywho, Fuller, it's always a pleasure to hang out with you, my friend.
You too, buddy. And don't forget to check out csbible.com for the sponsored, Lifeway and the CS Study Bible that we used on the episode today. Every scripture that was read was from the CSB. So if you enjoyed the reading of that, go check it out at csbible.com.
csbible.com. Fuller, I love you, homie. It was good enough to have another episode, man. But until next time,
take it easy.